As you noted, shares of Salesforce are sinking today after the software company said sales growth will stall to its slowest in its history. So is this a long-term concern for investors, or this just a bump in the road? Well, joining us now for an outlook on Salesforce is Dan Ives, Wedbush Managing Director and Senior Equity Analyst. Dan, great to have you on the show, on set. Let's dig right in. I thought it was interesting, Dan, when you look at the stock, on the conference call, just some of the language on that call from executives, where they were sounding this note of caution, Dan. I mean, they talked about measured buying behavior. That was their words, not what you love to hear when you're an investor. What do you make of the tone? What do you make of the report and the reaction?
Benioff calls like it is, but they're in between two growth waves, because the AI-driven growth, what I view as the renaissance of growth for CRM, that's still 9-12 months away. So what's happening is you're seeing some disruption on larger deals. But in my opinion, it's a bump in the road. Because you'll see the overreaction, like you're seeing on the sell-off. Remember, we saw the same thing with Palo Alto down 30%. Look what's happened in that recovery. I believe it's conservative bar. They basically cleared the deck for next quarter. And if you looked up sandbagged guidance, you'd see this quarter coming up.
So there's a bump and then there's sort of a plateau, right? I mean, 9 months is a long time, potentially, for investors to be patient when they're looking at a payoff that isn't coming till next year, maybe even the year after. And it seems like today, there's not a lot of patience baked in.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, patience wears thin, because you have the haves and have-nots. You got the godfather of AI, Jensen, NVIDIA in the left lane. Do you bet on that and just pay up? Or any sort of sniff of any negative news, Workday, Salesforce, we've seen across the board, you're going to see this happen. But in my opinion, you're talking about a gold standard tech play, one of the best installed base in the world, AI on the doorstep.
With a ton of data.
Yeah. Growth coming back, and we'll call it 10%. Now they've cleared the decks. To me, it's a table pounder moment in Salesforce. But like we see, many from an analyst perspective or investors, they're going to hit the elevators in this type of environment. But to me, it's the time to really own a gold standard name.
Do you think, listen, Mark Benioff, veteran, tested, been in the game, I don't know, what, 20, 25
Mount
years?
Rushmore.
Okay, Mount Rushmore. When you see a stock crater like this, though, Dan, it's not unreasonable, probably for some investors to say, okay, look at that, it's nosediving. Is he still the right guy for this job as they make this transition you're talking about?
I mean, you're talking in that Mount Rushmore. I mean, you got Jensen, Cook. You put Benioff I put Benioff, McDermott. I mean, so the point is, if he's flying the plane, I'm in 3A, feeling really comfortable watching Netflix. And the point is, this is a situation where they have it all in front of them. And I just view this as it's a speed bump, not the start of a structural decline. I think we sit here 6-9 months from now, and this is potentially a historical buying opportunity for Salesforce.
I just want to press you on this a little bit more. Okay, so let's take your plane analogy. It doesn't matter how good a pilot you are if the turbulence is bad enough. And they kept saying on the call over and over again, measured buying behavior, which is code for our clients are not spending as much, right? They're in a retrenching environment. So even if Salesforce itself is in a transition and things are going to get, it's going to get the company in a better place 9 months from now, what's to say that the buying environment is going to be any better?
And just to continue on that point, it would be going through 30 minutes of turbulence, knowing you're landing in Kona. Okay, so the point, my view is that on the other side of that is the fourth industrial revolution, the 1995 moment.
In Kona. I mean, that's where you want to.
We want to be there.
Big Island, some could say Maui, Kauai, but the point, we don't want to get into that. But my view is that when you're looking at the AI revolution, you're looking at the second, third, fourth derivatives, Salesforce front and center, which is why to bet against Benioff, it's like betting against the Rangers in the playoffs.
Benioff, he did have those activists circling, right? But he gets to work, he gets religion. Where do you see margins headed from here?
I think that's it. Free cash flow is increasing. So you look at margins are actually upticking. That they raise guidance from an EPS perspective. Now look, in this type of market, any negative news, stocks are going to get hit like this and overreacted. I believe we sit here weeks, month from now, We look at this and be like, look at the recovery, because the investors that maybe missed, because remember, if you go back 18 months ago, New York City cab driver was bearish in sales. Activist, 10 downgrade. Look what happened to the stock. I think we go through, again, a Groundhog Day situation there. And if someone's leading it and I'm betting on Benioff.
I want to ask you about M&A for a sec, because he sort of was a little bit coy when it came to more acquisitions on the call. They wouldn't address Informatica directly. Should investors brace themselves for another large-scale acquisition attempt on the part of Salesforce? And would that be a good thing?
Look, initially it would be negative and dilution. We saw that with Slack, which I think has continued to plague the company a bit. But Julie, at the end of the day, like, we're talking about a Game of Thrones playing out in tech. And what that means, as you look at AI, you're going to see M&A consolidation continue to, I think, accelerate. So this tip of the iceberg to what I see is just a massive phase of consolidation. And Benioff, the deal maker, is not going to be on the outside looking in. If a deal comes through, that makes sense. But to that point, they're not going to be compelled to just do any deal. I continue to believe that deal, if we're talking about A, B, C, D, that's a B- deal.
The Informatica deal.
If an A+ deal comes and the valuation's right, maybe on the private side, then Benioff, ultimately one of the best poker players out there, will do that. But for an Informatica, I don't see it.
Get you out of here on one thing. I need to get a Dan Ives vibe check on Palantir, because they're making news this week. Deals, $480 million contract with the DoD. You still a fan?
It's the Messi of AI. To me, it's really one of probably the best pure play AI name out there. That thing got way oversold on earnings. And now, as you see Karp and what the team's doing, they're just executing brick by brick. I think it continues to be probably the most underestimated AI play, maybe tech play, in the market today.
All right, Dan, we got to talk about something outside of tech. Because a lot of people saw the New York Post has named you the best dressed man on Wall Street. Obviously, very distinctive for what, and Josh and I have known you for a while. You have ratcheted it up through the years. You have turned it, and you kept on turning.
Look, this has been, and we've known each other for a decade, a phase sort of approach.
It's the evolution, like Salesforce, really.
That's
what it really is.
It's like going from perpetual to subscriction model.
And you know what? And you land in Kona. That's what it looks like.
And you land in Kona.
You would look very at home in Kona, I think.
And it's true. Look, as I talk about in the article, it's always trying to sort of have a vibe where, I don't know what I'm going to wear in that day, but it gives me a more relaxed feel. And it's one where, I think many, see how I dress, and also it takes down a notch some of the seriousness in a very serious industry.
Yes.
Bring down
I like
the tone.
that. You got your shades too.
I got my shades, and look, and again, I'm just trying to follow the lead of you and Lipton in terms of where this
maybe
is all
we can.
headed.
I don't know.
I mean, I
Josh,
think
maybe you could have a little more fun, Josh.
Maybe I'm just too conservative. It's too serious. We gotta lighten this whole thing up. That's the problem.
I know, but I go here. S&P hit 6,000. Lipton's wearing a purple sports jacket.
I'm in.
When S&P hit 6,000, I
Ives.
bring my purple sports jacket and Lipton.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
Done?
It's done. It's a
That's
date.
good television.
Okay.
Financial
we'll
analyst and television producer, right there.
That's what we're doing.
That's what it is.
Thanks for coming in. Great
Thank you.
to see you.